Hi, hello everyone, and welcome to this YouTube channel called as UPSC Edge. So this is Nisha Najmuddin, your Educator Academy. I'm an economist, teacher, entrepreneur, YouTuber, having 6 years of teaching experience, and I've taught 60 plus GS batches. And I'm also the educator in chief for this YouTube channel called as UPSC Edge. So all the important sessions pertaining to UPSC for your prelims as well as mains perspective will be done in this particular channel. So UPSC Edge is actually a one-stop solution for your prelims as well as mains examination. So don't delay guys. Subscribe very soon to get all the updates of this channel. Okay. And now in this particular video we are going to do an amazing topic as to prelims facts of the day for UPSC prelims 2020 along with practice question, and this will be done on a daily basis. That is, I'll be choosing the most important facts from the daily current affairs which is important for the prelims examination, and a discussion of that in the most short and crisp manner will be done. And now out of that, some practice questions based on what we discussed, and also that particular day's current affairs will be analyzed with a 360-degree manner. So automatically you'll understand what are the questions also you get for the examination. And now on a daily basis we'll do this, and I hope this course will definitely help you out because it's a short course which will enable you to save a load of time in your preparation, and you'll be able to understand what you need to study and focus with regard to your upcoming UPSC prelims examination. Another important highlight which I added in this course is, along with the practice questions, that is the MCQ questions, I have also included answer writing here. That is, I've given some mains questions of that particular day. Let's say for example we are discussing 4 topics today from the prelims facts, okay? And based on the current affairs of that particular day, I have chosen 2 important mains questions for your practice. I'll also tell you the approach, so that will be homework for you people. You can write down the answers and send the answers via the Telegram channel, and the link of that is given in the chat box. Nisha Najmuddin at Unacademy for UPSC is the name of my channel. You can send the answers there, it will be evaluated. And also you can put your suggestions and feedbacks via the comment box as well, okay? So this is all about this course called as Prelims Facts of the Day for UPSC PT 2020, which will be done on a regular basis. So yes, before beginning guys, as you all know, I'm one of the plus faculty in an academy. If you want to subscribe for my plus courses and also to various other educators plus courses, very simple. Go for the subscription either for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year or 2 year. Okay. So now for that I can help you out with my discount code, and my code is UPSC Edge. Either nisha.nujmuddin you can use, or the name of this channel called as UPSC Edge you can use and subscribe. The benefit is 10% discount from the fees you will be getting when you use my code, and also you will come under the personal mentoring program which I conduct. So these are the advantages of this subscription of an academy. Now, this is the schedule of my free special live class for the month of July. I do take special class at an academy, and the timing is 6 to 7 p.m. and 8 to 9 p.m. So these are the topics on a regular basis. So there is no change in the timing for the free class which I do at an academy. The link of all these free classes which I do is given in the description box. You can just go through. And here comes the YouTube schedule. You can just go through guys the entire schedule. So stay tuned by subscribing this channel to get all the updates of my sessions. And let's crack UPSC CSE guys with a lot of josh. Okay. So now to begin with, we are going to discuss the prelims facts of the day for UPSC PT with practice questions on as per July 13, 2020. So now the first important section is in section number 1, we are going to have an analysis as to the prelims facts. I have chosen some important topics which talks about the facts for your UPSC prelims. The first topic is Assam keelback spotted for the first time in 129 years. So if you see a newspaper guys, you would have seen this news, right? Regarding Assam keelback. That is, it's a kind of snake, that species, okay? And it is said that for the first time in 129 years, oh my god, more than 100 years, they could spot this kind of species. And amazing, right? And that too, a female species of this, Assam keelback was spotted in a muddy stream in the Pobar Reserve Forest. So this is a newspaper clipping that you would have seen. We are going to have an analysis of that, what is all about. So from this newspaper clipping, it is not important to have an understanding of the entire content. What is important for your prelims? I have chosen the most important top points and given you. You need to study only that and memorize that for your UPSC prelims examination. So let's have a look at it guys. This entire news clipping I'm going to comprise in 2 to 3 points, okay? Which is very, very important for your UPSC examination. To the point we are going to discuss. And thus if you see, this particular snake called as Assam keelback, okay? It has been sighted by a team of whom guys? By the Wildlife Institute of India in Dehradun. They are the ones who spotted this species of snake for the first time since 1869. And now this species called as Assam keelback snake, they were known as what? They were known as Hebus paley. Okay. And thus the specialty of this snake called as Assam keelback is so far known only to the inhabit Sivasagar in the upper Assam and also in the Poba Reserve Forest, which is put up in the border of Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. So actually if you see recently in the Porba Reserve Forest only, in that muddy stream only, you could find a female species of this snake called as Assam keelback. Okay. And thus, as far as the present knowledge goes, it is said that this particular keelback, Assam keelback, it is an endemic snake of Upper Assam. The next important keyword based on which you can get questions from this for UPSC is based on this point, endemic snake. They can ask you like vulnerable snake, they can ask you like, native snake, you understand? Or not a native snake, like that they can confuse you. But now if you see this keelback is an endemic snake of where? Of Assam, that to Upper Assam. So these are the important points which you have to keep in mind while you study this topic. And also the first time in 129 years in the year 2020, this species of snake was found in Assam. Okay. So this is perfectly fine with regard to what? With regard to this topic. So this entire news clipping, come on, I have just comprised it in very small 3 to 4 points. And based on this only, you will get questions for your UPSC. Okay. Perfect. Now the next important topic is India's tiger census of 2018 sets a Guinness World Record. So we all know that based on tiger conservation, based on the number of increase in the tiger count, all these things are very, very important. And I think in the MCQ series which I do, multiple questions based on tiger conservation, tiger reservation, etc. we have done. Which means that this is one of the hit list topic for the current UPSC Prelims 2020. You may get a questions based on this because previous year from my course which I did in the Unacademy Plus and in the free classes, 10 plus questions came for the UPSC Prelims. So in that surety and guarantee, I'm telling you that current year also, whatever I'm predicting, the areas, the important areas and the questions which I have done in the Unacademy free and plus classes, you may get. And now this tiger, the question based on tiger conservation, tiger estimation, your Petersburg Declaration, all these are based on tiger concepts. Okay. So there are chances for you to get questions based on that as well. So talking about the tiger census, guys, with regard to the prelims facts of the day, it is said that this particular census, guys, they got a Guinness record for being the world's largest camera trap wildlife sanctuary. Look at the keyword. For the globe or the world's largest camera trap wildlife sanctuary only, they got a Guinness word. They've acknowledged for that. And now you may think, what is this camera trap? So actually camera trap means they are outdoor photographic devices. Okay. And now these devices, what they do is that they start fitting them with some motion sensors. So now automatically when these devices, when they are fit up in the forest and all with motion sensors, automatically they start recording when an animal pass by that. So you get a clear-cut idea regarding the tiger population, the count, the number, etc. So thus from these photographs, it is understandable that the individual tigers, they are identified using something called as stripe pattern recognition software. So with the help of this software only, they understood that the number of tigers are slowly increasing as well. And thus the fourth cycle of the All India Tiger Estimation 2018. They counted more than 2,500 tigers. Literally, I can tell you it is nearing 3,000 tigers because 2967 is a real figure. But yeah, nearing 3,000 tigers, guys, which means that 75% of the global tiger population has been constituted from our country, India. So our country, India, is doing great in conserving this tiger population. That is why if you see in the St. Petersburg Declaration, you would have heard about this. Multiple questions based on this I've done for you in the mock MCQ series. Now, as per the target given to India, it was said that by the year 2022, we will, achieve the target of increasing the count of tigers, that is doubling the number of tigers. But in the year 2019-20 itself, our country, India, was able to achieve the target. That was a pride moment for us. Okay, which means that the number of tigers in our country is increasing. And also with regard to the states like Madhya Pradesh, Uttarakhand and all, I even told you which are the states that ranks number 1 for this tiger population as well. Okay. So this is enough, guys, based on the topic number 2, which talks about the Guinness World Record for the tigers, India's tiger census. Based on this only, you may get questions. Okay. Now, the next topic, the topic number 3 is talking about Hagia Sophia. So you'll be thinking, what is Hagia Sophia? So now, this is in fact one of the most beautiful, monuments and museums as well, I can tell you. This is a picture of that museum, guys. So now, the current affairs perspective is that this particular Hagia Sophia, okay, it is the 6th century Byzantine structure which is found in a place called Istanbul. And now this Hagia Sophia, it was an Eastern Orthodox patriarchal cathedral, and it was in existence for more than 900 years. That's great, right? And now it also has an imperial mosque, and it is more than 482 years. And currently this particular Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, they function as a museum, and now that is famous for being one of the most important tourist spot. So a lot of tourist attractions do come to this because they converted this into a museum, okay, currently. And now this particular Hagia Sophia, because of its popularity and the attraction and the tourist visit and all, they got a place in what? In UNESCO's World Heritage Site. That is United Nation and Educational, Scientific, Cultural Organizations World Heritage Site. They got a place, and thus it has been one of the most visited monuments, guys, where in Turkey. And also another important feature of this monument called as Hagia Sophia is that it is an emblem or a symbol of Christian Muslim coexistence. How these two communities are coexisting in a beautiful way. Okay, that is the next keyword. And thus, what is the current affairs perspective? This Hagia Sophia, which is a monument, which is having a place in the UNESCO's World Heritage Site, which is an emblem of Christian Muslim coexistence, has been turned into a mosque. Who did that? Because this monument is in Turkey, the Turkish president, Mr. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, he is the one who turned this beautiful museum or a monument into a mosque now. So currently it is being used in the context of as a mosque. Okay. So this is the current affairs perspective of this Hagia Sophia. So when you visit Turkey, guys, make a point of visiting this amazing place. It's really worth visiting. Okay. Now, the next important topic and the prelims facts of the day is with regard to psoriasis. That psoriasis drugs get DCGI nod for emergency use. That is the Drugs Controller General of India. They give an approval for the emergency use of this drug which has been used for psoriasis, called as etolizumab injection. That is the drug. So basically, they have for emergency use on whom, guys? For the COVID-19 patients. We all know that COVID-19, right? That pandemic has literally shook the entire global economy. So now a vaccination has not been invented so far. So the government of various countries are trying, and some innovations have been brought in that yes, there is a vaccination for this as well. So now with regard to this drug, it is said that the Drug Controller General of India, okay, he cleared that this particular drug called as etolizumab, okay, it is used to treat what? Drug here means medicines, guys, not the other drug anyways. So basically it is used to treat what? Severe chronic plaque psoriasis. We all know what is psoriasis, right? It's a kind of skin disorder what you get. So now they've actually restricted for the emergency use for the COVID-19 patients. So because they found some sort of changes while using this drug which is used to treat the psoriasis disease. And now the approval is only for emergency use. In case of utmost emergency criteria, then you can use this. Okay? In the treatment of what? CRS, called as cytokine release syndrome. And that too in moderate to severe ADRS patients. Okay? Taking into consideration the COVID-19 situation. And now what is psoriasis? It is nothing but a skin disorder which causes the skin cells to start multiplying like 10 times faster than the normal. Now when the skin starts multiplying 10 times faster, what happens? Automatically it makes the skin build up into bumpy red patches. You can see it with all the white scales and all. Very dry it will become the skin and it will start bursting out. So that is called as psoriasis. So basically for treating that only you use this drug. Currently it has been restricted for emergency or the important use for the COVID-19 care or patients, because no such vaccination for coronavirus has been invented. So they are the kind of doctors, experts, they are all trying on this particular strategies as well. So this is the current affairs perspective of your psoriasis drug. Okay. Perfect. So these are the 4 important topics of the day, guys. So now it's time for us to deal with the section 2, which deals with UPSC prelims practice questions. So yes, it is quiz time. So let's crack, guys, these wonderful questions with the anthem of Unacademy. Let's crack UPSC CSE. And to begin with, the first question under the prelims facts of the day is, which of the following statements is or are incorrect with respect to CRAR? So now I've told you that whenever you get a question, 2 things are important. One is the method of KAC. Please keep the keyword technique, elimination technique and comparison technique which I've taught you. So now you will be able to analyze the question carefully and do it without any mistake. So now what is the keyword? The keyword here is incorrect statement, which means that you have to identify the wrong statement. So once you identify this keyword, 95% of your mistake is gone. So thus the first one tells that the lower the CRAR of a bank, the better capitalized it is. Really? Second one talks the Basel III norms. Okay, they stipulated a capital to risk weighted assets of 8%. So this could be 8 or 9%, guys. That is the next keyword. You have to identify which is correct. Third one talks about in the context of India. That is scheduled commercial banks. They are required to maintain a CRAR of 7%. While the Indian public sector banks, they are emphasized to maintain the CRAR of how many percentage? 6% as per the RBI norms. So you have to think and give the right answer. And the answer for this particular question is option number C, which means that the first and the third one, they are incorrect because we have to identify the incorrect statement. That is why the answer is C. Whereas we all know that the second one is correct because as per the Basel III norms, yes, the capital to risk weighted assets ratio, that is at the rate of 8%. Okay. Now, what is CRAR, guys? Actually, it is said that when the capital to risk asset ratio, in simple terms called as capital adequacy ratio. Okay. Now, it is the ratio of bank's capital to the risk it undertakes. So, how do you derive this ratio, guys? Basically, by dividing the capital of the bank. Let's say capital of the bank is 50 CR. Okay. With the aggregated, the total risk weighted assets for credit risk, market risk, operational risk, etc. That is called as capital adequacy ratio. So, how can we say that, guys? It will lower the CRA of a bank. That is when the capital adequacy is low, how can the bank get better capitalized? Absolutely doesn't make a sense. That is why first one is wrong. That is higher the capital adequacy ratio only, the bank will get a better capitalization. That is a practicality. Okay. And thus this particular ratio, guys, it is a ratio of a bank's capital to its risk weighted assets and current liabilities. And now, if I can tell you that a bank with a higher capital adequacy ratio, that is said to have a very safe and healthy financial obligation, in the sense that they are in a safer position. And thus, only when you have this capital adequacy ratio in a higher rate, the bank will be able to have a better capitalization. And thus, it is not 7%. Actually, as per the current affairs data, the scheduled commercial banks, they are required to maintain how many percentage? Currently, it is 9%, guys, of the capital adequacy ratio. Because of the keyword 7% only, the third one is also incorrect. And as per the directive keyword that is incorrect, the answer is option number C. And now it is very easy to understand that the third one is wrong. So now when you go for the method of elimination, take care. Option number A is eliminated. Out of B, C and D, you have to make a choice. And regarding first one also, it doesn't make a sense. Again, eliminate. Automatically, you come to conclusion that C is the right answer, 1 and 3. Take care. Now, the next question is, which of the following statements is or are correct with respect to CAATSA? What is that? Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act. So in July 12th newspaper, I think you would have found this, topic. Anyways, the first one tells, it stated the purpose is to counter aggression by the government of Iran, the Russian Federation and North Korea. Second one, there are provisions in the law for secondary sanctions on the persons that engage in significant transactions with Iran, Russia, North Korea. Third one tells, there is a CAATSA waiver for India. Look at the keyword waiver. Do you think we have a waiver? Think. That is a keyword. As a part of the John S. McCain National Defense Authorization Act for the fiscal year 2019. And if you see, the answer for this question is option number D. That is, neither one or two statements they are correct, which means that both these statements are absolutely galat. Matlab, they are wrong. Now, what is your countering America's advisory to sanctions, guys? From the keyword, America's advisory through sanctions, understandable that it was passed by the US Congress in the year 2017. Okay, but it is said that it is basically to counter the aggression by the government of Iran. Actually, if you see, it is to counter the aggression by the governments of Iran, Russian Federation and North Korea. Okay, and thus if you see, this particular CAATSA that was passed none other than the US Congress in the year 2017, and thus given the India-US growing defense relationship, I can tell you that yes, the US Congress, they passed a waiver for India as a part of what? As a part of Act for the fiscal year 2019. Guys, one second, there is a mistake in the question. That is actually the answer is option number, one second. it is option number, B. Both 1, 2 and 3 should come there. So that option number 3 was not included. So the answer is C actually, not D. Okay. Now, the next question is, which of the following statements is or are correct? First one tells, as per the recent All India Tiger Estimation Survey of 2018, the number of tigers reported from India have increased as compared to the previous survey. Second one, India accounts for less than 25% of wild tiger population of the world. So now you have to identify the answer for this. And what is the keyword? As we all know, the keyword in the question is incorrect statement. So once you identify this, 90% of a silly mistake is avoided. So now out of these statements, it is very, very easy to understand that the second one is the answer. Why? Because that is the incorrect statement. Just a couple of slides back, I told you that the India's tiger population, that is on an increase. So how can we say that we account for less than 25%? Absolutely doesn't make a sense. It is actually we account for 75%, right? So now it is easy to understand that the second one is wrong. And thus, as per the fourth cycle of the All India Tiger Estimation, they said that our global tiger population is, our country accounts for 75% of the global tiger population. And yes, we have received a Guinness World Record for what? For the Tiger Estimation Survey of 2008. In that context, really, I discussed the prelims facts of the day as well, right? So I hope it is very clear for you people. Now, the next question is regarding the Museum of Conflicts, that is your Hagia Sophia, which we discussed. It is located in which of the following country? A very simple question. Option A, Syria, B, Turkey, C, Iran, and D, Kazakhstan. As we all know from the term Hagia Sophia and also the Museum of Conflicts, it is none other than what? Turkey. So thus, I can tell you that currently this particular UNESCO's World Heritage Site, that is Hagia Sophia, which is an emblem of Christian-Muslim coexistence, they are turned into a mosque by whom? By the Turkish president. Take care. Now, the next part of the prelims facts of the day course is section 3, which consists of UPSC mains practice question. So yes, it's time to do some answer writing as well. So I think I can give this as a homework for you people. You can write down the answers and send it in my Telegram group for checking. And also in the comment box also you can post it. The first question is, evaluate India's vulnerability to forest fire. Examine the associated challenges and suggest suitable measures to reduce the risk of forest fire. This is taken from July 12, guys, or 12 April 2020 current affairs, because regarding forest fire and carbon emissions, there was a topic from environment. Based on that, I've taken this question. So now what is a keyword? Just like a UPSC prelims, for UPSC mains also there are some keywords. Here it is evaluate India's vulnerability and examine. Examine means you're going to talk about what is forest fire, what is India's situation to that, and also another keyword is challenges and suggest suitable measures. So now examine the associated challenge means examine is the most important keyword where you're going to talk about vulnerability of India to forest fire, what is the impact of forest fire and all. Now challenges and measures, this actually the hidden keyword in this particular question is critically examine or critically evaluate. You understand? Because whenever you have a question based on challenges or issues, definitely you should talk about the issues or negative impacts. Now, whenever you talk about the negative impacts, you're criticizing it. So you cannot conclude an answer without giving a heading called as way forward or remedies. So you can talk about the government measures to reduce the risk of forest fires, and from your perspective, what do you feel? You can talk all these things, okay? So this is a hidden keyword. So accordingly, the heading should be introduction, then the data of India's vulnerability with regard to forest fire and what are the impacts, the issues or challenges associated with forest fire, and what are the measures, way forward or suitable measures to reduce it. And this is how you should write the answer. And now in bullet points, you should write the answers, because that will fetch you better marks for the UPSC mains examination. All these things in the Unacademy free class and plus class, I keep telling you. And also make a point of sticking to the word limit. You should not cross the word limit. Another trick which I taught you for word limit is, take a paper, divide into rows and columns, start writing in that. So automatically your brain gets accustomed to that pattern of rows and columns. So you'll understand how many words are there. So wasting your time by counting 1, 2, 3 for the examination can be avoided with regard to word limit. Okay. Now the next question is based on it's an economic question, guys. Given the fact that the economic fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic would most likely result in higher NPA and capital erosion of banks. So now in this context regarding NPA, we all know that non-performing assets or bad loans, that's such an pathetic situation, has created a lot of pathetic situations in the entire economy. But now in a case of COVID-19, we know When there is a higher NP and capital erosion, what happens? You know what happens in the economic situation, right? So now you have to discuss. Discuss means what? Give a detailed explanation as to the associated concerns, matlab the issues, and after that give some suggestions. Both short-term suggestions what you can do and long-term measures what you can undertake to prevent this issue to help mitigate this crisis. And now this has to be done in another 250 words. So I hope you got exactly the context of these two questions with the keywords. So do write your answers and feel free to post it via the Telegram channel and also via the comment box. So that's all for today, guys, under this prelims facts of the day. So thank you so much, my young officers. And these are the various platforms where you can follow me. One is absolutely the Telegram channel, Nishan Najmuddin at Unacademy for UPSC. Then also this YouTube channel. Do subscribe, like, and share this video if you like it. And via Facebook, there is a group called as Mission UPSC with Nishan Najmuddin. Then Instagram, again the same name. Via Unacademy profile, guys, and also via mail. WhatsApp number is given only to the plus students. That is why once you are my plus student, yeah, you will have an access of this WhatsApp number of mine to have all the queries and all. So that's all. And also, if you are looking for a plus subscription, don't forget to use my referral code UPSC Edge and get a discount of 10% and also be a part of the personal mentoring program. So I hope you like this prelims facts of the day class. I want each and everyone who watched this video to put your valuable feedback as well. So because this is a new initiative by me, so on a daily basis this will be continued. Bye bye. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.